It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Friday, Groundhog Day again. I was kind of sort of cleaning up putting a few things away. Because yesterday was not the best day for me. I just had a bad day. Sometimes we have those, right? And so I left the studio table and didn't do anything. Just left it as it stood. So I came back to it this morning like, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. Ever have those days? Do you remember that book by Eric Carle, My Many Colored Days? Such a good book. I used to read it to my boys when they were little. First of all of Eric Carle's artwork was, hand-painted paper that he did, then he collaged. So cool. I once saw a picture of his studio. It was like knee-deep in collage paper. Really awesome. I still have The Very Hungry Caterpillar memorized from when I used to read it to my kids when they were little. I mean, how can you not love a book that starts with, "In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf"? Isn't that the best line? I just love that. It's so cool. Love me some Eric Carle. But anyway, My Many Colored Days, that's what made me think of yesterday. Some days are blue, some are yellow, some are gray. That's just how it is. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your kind words. Dina time. That's right. Glad to have all of you. Are you guys holding up okay? Hope you are. So I'm not sure who brought up a couple of times washi tape, so I thought I could just tell you some of the ways I use my washi and then answer questions or take, simple requests. Or I can also keep a list for future demos as well if the request is kind of bigger. Happy to do that as well. How I like to think of washi is I either think of it as an accent pop. Oh, Terry, did you make the sugar cookies? They're so good. I haven't made them because I will eat the entire pan. Again, red light food for me. Red light food. Anything baked. And also I have cinnamon rolls and bread down to a science. Like homemade bread. Carbs are my favorite food. Seriously. Bread and butter. Is there anything better than hot bread out of the oven with butter? Oh my goodness. Anywho, what's my point? Okay, so attention deficit. Oh, squirrel today. A little bit. Okay, another squirrel moment. So my middle son Cole, the one that has really severe ADHD, he's 22. The doctor calls him a happy hyper, because when he's not on his medication, he's hilarious. I mean, he's happy and he's hyper, and you've got this 6 foot tall, 22-year-old just cracking us up and being silly and making us laugh. And hey, Dina. So anywho, so washi tape. Back to washi. I really love using it as a little accent pop, or think of it as paint on a roll. So if you have paint and pattern on a roll, then you can use it any place in the layering process. So that means you can layer it underneath. Hi, Milas, all the way from Norway, Stavanger. All the way. So washi can go in any part of the process. Because it's generally so patterned and colorful, though, you've got to keep in mind that if you're adding washi tape to something, then you're adding color and pattern, which can, be good, or it can draw, it can draw the eye, or it can pull the eye away. But so I guess I'm a simple creature. Well, we all know that's not true. But in general, I will mostly use it as accents. So if I have something going on and I want to make sure you really look here, Then I'm gonna dig through my washi tape and find something that contrasts or something that has a bold print and pattern, and then put it where I want you to look. Yeah, so, and what's great about washi is that it's kind of like crack that doesn't make your teeth fall out. So, you know, I think washi is like, you buy a little and you think, okay, no more, I'm good, I don't need any more of this. And then a day goes by and you totally need more crack, and then you see a different kind of washi. And so listen, there's no shame in collecting washi. It's not that expensive, it makes you happy, so you know, no problem at all, right? I love collections like that. So, you know, I'll put it places to draw the eye. I particularly love my little washi tapes that have hearts on them. When I go to Japan, I've only been twice, so it sounds like I go all the time. But of course, Japan, the original washi. Oh my gosh! When you go there, you guys, like I said, you don't need to really bring an extra suitcase because everything you buy is small. But the paper and the washi you can get there, oh heaven, it's heavens. No, I don't put matte medium over the washi. I mean, unless it's coming up. But in general, no. Challenge yourselves. I know everybody has drawers full of it. Challenge yourself to get it out and use it. And then when you use it, you can justify buying more. I will tell you, if you ever need justification for purchasing something, just give me a call. Let me know, send me an email, because I will happily think of reasons why you do indeed need to purchase whatever you're thinking about purchasing. I can justify anything. It's one of my talents. I'm very, very good at it. So here I'm just using it as a frame to narrow the focus down. See how that frame is drawing your eye in, making you look right at the focal? It helps a lot. It'd be better if that focal point was probably in black, but you know, not going to take the time to stamp it again. And then there's a lot of yellow happening there, or excuse me, a lot of purple and blue happening there. So I need something orange or yellow, right? So I'm digging through my washi, seeing if I can find something orange or yellow. This is not quite as bright as I wish it would be, but it'll do for now. I love to put washi down and paint over it. Then you've got these layers peeking through. You know, all those silhouettes that I do. Washi is perfect for decorating inside the bodies. Gonna speckle it with some lemon. Giving my guy the pox. I do so love to give my work the pox. Okay, right? So quotes, writing, text, and then you've successfully narrowed your focus down, right? Lots of fun little ideas. Let's paint over some, yeah? La, 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 la. So, like I mentioned a minute ago, so you've got all of these little bodies here. It's really easy and fun to come and decorate, accent, draw the eye inside the bodies. And then we'll paint over some as well. So just think of it as paint on a roll. Paint on a roll. Print and pattern on a little roll. In my line, my original washi tape was black and white. This is some of the original. It's not even washi. It has this pretty strong adhesive. We called it media tape. The black and white is discontinued. They asked me, well, what about the white tape? Should we discontinue it? And I, most of the time, you look at the sales numbers and you think, okay, yeah, that's run its course. That's fine. That white tape, though, I fought for. I know. Can you see the metallic spray? Sorry, I know I'm tempting y'all with stuff that I shouldn't be showing you. But hey. Right? It's just the best. You guys are going to die. You are going to Put me in your will. That's how good it's going to be. Yeah, so the black and white washi, I still have a little bit of the black and white washi. Hoarding it just a tad because you can paint it any color. But anyway, so the black and white is discontinued. What is not discontinued but reissued is the white. The reason being is that every stencil you own can become a washi tape design. Every stamp you own can become a washi tape design. Sometimes you want to tip something in or glue something and you don't want the tape to introduce a print or introduce a pattern, then the white is fantastic. For that, it doesn't really disappear, but it kind of blends in a little easier. You can use scribble sticks on this white tape. Oh yeah, you're gonna swoon and snog, seriously, when you get the metallic. You're just gonna drop to your knees and cry with joy. So anywho, this one of my favorite things to do with this white washi too is to put it out on the craft sheet. And then you can use scribble sticks or Sharpies, and I write words on it like, get all my stress out. I don't wet it, I just write, and you can decorate it or do whatever the hell you want. And then when you come to a page that you want to make a background, I'm going to start with the washi. So I get the question all the time about if my colors are light fast. Ranger does not test for light fastness, so that is not something. That's not something that I'm aware. I know. I don't think. I mean, I've never had anything fade. But in general, you really shouldn't have artwork or anything near windows where sunlight could get to it. I've never had anything fade though. I mean, I have tons of art on my walls made with my art, and it has never changed. So I don't know. That's a long way of saying that's not one of the things that we test for. So now I've got my handwritten washi down there. Lots of others. Okay, this is not Dina Wakley washi, but this is some that I bought in Japan. Probably at Tokyo Disney. It's Alice in Wonderland. Isn't that cool? I have a drawer full of Japanese washi. I have a few in here, but I have another drawer full. And, as one does. I had to buy these because, the scuba diver in me had to buy these little sea creatures that come off. So they're like an individual sticker. So each little fish comes off separately. Isn't that so cute? So yeah. Anywho, I relate to you guys on the washi tape sickness. I am right there with you. Look at this coral reef one. This is just, of course I can't get look at that. Oh, that's where I want to be right now. Diving in the sea. Anyway, anything fish themed like that, I totally have to buy. Okay, so after I have put down tape for background, I'm going to go ahead and paint over it. And, if you want to paint over all the way and just let little bits show through, great. If you want some of it to still show, great. There's no right or wrong. Just think of it as a layer. Right? It's just a layer. Can't find Discarded. Discarded, the book by Louis Rossignol, that one could be out of print. He self-published those and he sold them on his Etsy. So what you need to do is go to Louis Rossignol's Etsy store and check there. He does have a couple others that are available. So even if you can't find Discarded, there are others by him for sure. Yeah, we would be safe scuba diving because I'll tell you what, there is no virus under the water. The problem is when we come up. Just finally digging that white paint out that I found the other day. Thank you. I tell you what, as soon as we're allowed to run back to Cozumel, I might not ever come home. Oh, gonna run there and never leave. No, I always tease my husband because I do have a history of buying things without telling him first or even discussing it. So sometimes I'll go to Cozumel by myself to dive because he's not a diver. And he cracks me up. He's always like, don't buy anything. And I'm like, do you mean a condo or do you mean a t-shirt? Because one day I might come home with a condo. Dina, several years ago, you did an in-person class on how to make a concertina tag book. So Sandra, that would just be a standard accordion. And it would just be fold like an accordion. I mean, it's just an accordion fold. You might be able to Google that. I definitely can show that, and I'll put that on the list. But it's just a standard accordion fold. I'm writing that down. Okay. Colors that I used were mineral, peacock, and white. Hi, Kelly. Kelly, we were talking. I was showing Kelly. Kelly's Phoenix Scuba. My dear friend Kelly. I was showing Kelly about, or I was showing the group about this coral reef and fishy washi tape that I brought home from Japan last time that I went. And I said, that's where we want to be. We want to be diving. And I told everybody, as soon as we're allowed to travel again, I might go to Cozumel and never get on the plane home. I just might not. The author's Lewis. Okay, if you're talking about discarded, it's Lewis, Lewis, Rossignol, Rossignol, Lewis Rossignol. I discovered him on Instagram, and yeah, I bought his books from Etsy. I don't think you can find them from other places. So yeah, Kelly and I are itching to get back in the water. As soon as we're cleared to go, my friends, we will be there. We cannot wait. So a little bit of washi tape under your painted layer, and then some of it will lift up, and then I leave it that way, of course, because heaven forbid that I glue things down carefully. I like the texture that it gives. Kathy, we're talking about Lewis Rossignol, I believe. All right, so let me scroll back just a bit to see if there are any questions that I missed. Does that help with washi tape tips? Give you a few ideas. Use it under and over your paint. Use it to draw the eye. Use it as foundation layers. It's just super, super fun. By the way, Miss Kelly Fisher of Phoenix Scuba is somebody who, when she first married her husband, she wasn't really interested in diving. And then later learned to dive and loved it. And then now owns a dive shop and has taught thousands of people to dive and is one of the best, most patient, enthusiastic dive teachers you will ever meet because she understands where you're coming from. And I try to emulate her. Try to be like that as well. So we're your gals for getting you in the water. I promise we can do it. It is the absolute best. I never thought I'd be a diver. Never thought I would do it. And then we were in Australia on a day trip to the Great Barrier Reef, and they were like, okay, who wants to dive and who wants to snorkel? And I thought, I'm probably never coming back here. So I might as well dive, right? And so we did it and fell in love with it. So yeah. All right. Any questions that I can answer for you, and other little tips. So Kathy, the reason washi tape doesn't stick is it's meant to be. It is meant to be a removable adhesive. Okay, that's the definition of washi, is removable. So you struggle with washi, peeling, breaking, short shelf life. Yeah, sometimes you have to glue it down. I really don't think mine has I mean, I'm not trying to just be snobby, but I don't think mine has a super short shelf life, but some do. I mean, it just depends on the adhesives. But yeah, sometimes if you want it permanent, sometimes you can glue it, you can staple it. Marcy, we can get you caught back up for your open water. Yes, I have lots of online classes at dinawakely.com, and then click on online classes. A lot of them are older. There are newer ones. The newest ones would be abstract flowers, figuratively speaking, and ordered chaos. And then there's other new ones coming as well. When's the metallic paint coming? I don't know. No, I don't use wax paper at all. So this is, it's a Ranger craft sheet. So it is the product by Ranger. It's an all weather type surface. So you can scrape. They clean out well. Clean up well. You can scrape the gunk off. I usually don't, but you can. And it's heat resistant if you're an embosser. Will your videos stay up? Yep, I'm not taking them down. They're on my YouTube channel. They will stay in the videos section of the page as well. Metallic, did I answer when metallic paints are coming? I don't know. Everything's on hold right now. Yes, I have chosen new colors, so that again, that's all on hold. It's just going to depend on the release schedule. So right now we're waiting to see. Coming back to Seattle, Impress can't get rid of me. I'll be back like a bad rash, so you never know. Next year, I hope. Let's see. Techniques for the techniques that you use with paints and sprays, will they also work on cardstock? They will work on cardstock. Here's the deal, though. The cardstock is not made to take a lot of water, so you might be able to hit it with a couple brushes of paint and a few sprays, and then you got to be done, or you'll get severe buckling. Okay, so the reason that I use a lot on watercolor paper is it stands up to a lot of the wet media that I'm throwing at it. I'm curious, how do you balance creating for work and creating for yourself? I don't balance it at all. I'm horribly out of balance. Mostly I create for work. Well, and yeah, every now and then I'll just be like, okay, I'm not doing anything that I need to do, and I'm only playing around with what I want to do. I do a lot of experimenting too, by the way. I've spent the last few days after live broadcasts just totally playing around with gloss sprays and trying new things and discovering. I mean, I'm pretty good at just playing with the stuff too, but as far as like working on my paintings and stuff like that, I haven't done that in a long time. I just need to. There's only so much time in the day. They always say, don't monetize what you love or you'll come to hate it. That's certainly not true for me. I don't hate it. I love it, love it, love it. I know that what I do is a privilege. And, I get tired, but wouldn't you be tired doing no matter where you work? So might as well do what I like, right? How to avoid overspeckling? I don't know. Just flick your wrist once and not twice, I guess. I don't know. Just, you have to be at peace with the pox. You guys can quote me on that. Be at peace with the pox. Marilyn asks who my favorite artists are. Like fine artists, Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns, Harlan Frankenthaler, and so, I mean, there's just so many. Raymond Saunders, Basquiat. New paint colors. No, new sprays are coming in existing colors, and then new paint colors. I have lots of new stamp sets coming. They're already designed. Marilyn, I love MoMA for art museums. Phoenix Art Museum is awesome. I've never met an art museum I didn't like, actually. I've been to many. San Francisco, the Getty. Been to lots. All right, where would I put a focal point on this? Yeah. Probably here. Remember, it's got to overlap. Best thing you can do for your art is to, well, first of all, work a lot, like I always say, but then get your rear end into an art museum. Look at art. Get close. Get as close as the curators and the guards will let you, right? Look at art in its natural habitat. Not on the screen, I mean, eventually you got to step away from Pinterest, right? I think, anyway. Can you demo or share samples with your cat masks? I'll put that on the list for next week, Maria. Sound good? It's just going to be a big focal point when you use that cat mask. Cat mask, I wrote it down. Stabilo All Pencil. I get a lot of questions about this pencil. Stabilo is the brand. All is the variety in the brand. Like Ford makes Escapes and Explorers and Focuses. Stabilo is the Ford, and All is the subset, the type, right? Right. La, 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 la. Can I just give you guys some life advice, some art advice? Sometimes I joke around with my class and I'll say, everybody watch me. This is going to be worth the price of class. And everybody will look at me and then I'll go, okay, I did it. I just unclenched. So don't worry about so many of the nitpicky little details that you guys worry about. Please don't worry about that. Don't worry. I don't worry if pages are wet. I work in a lot of books anyway, so if something really does need to dry, I flip it behind me. You know, just try things, experiment, go easy on yourself, have fun. Hi, Stella. I get lots of questions, which I'm happy to answer always, about fine details of things, specifics and exactness and stuff like that. And if I know the answer, I will happily pass it on. Most of the time, though, I don't know the answer because I haven't even thought about it that much. It's just not something that it's not how I roll. So I'm kind of not the artist for exactness. I'm the artist for oops, oh well, right? The la la la, it's just in my head, Michelle. How do you do pupils that don't look like Pac-Man? Let's talk about that. La 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 la. All right, so when you draw an eye, my friends, let me sharpen my pencil. Oops, or just drop that pencil, that's fine. Okay, remember I do talk about this on the drawing video. So we did cover it on the drawing video too. Okay, so if you're drawing an eye, right? Your pupil is a black dot right in the middle of your eye, of your iris, okay? But if you draw a pin dot, a solid black dot like this, it looks very like somebody's on Oxy, okay? Pin dot pupils. Somebody needs to lay off the Oxy, okay? So what we want to do is we want to draw the pupil in the eye, and we want to leave the impression of a little bit of a reflection of light, because that is how living creatures look alive, when whatever light is nearby, when it reflects in the eye, and it gives you what is called a catch light. Super important in photography and in art. Really, really need to have catch lights, reflections in the eye. Now, reflections aren't necessarily in the pupil, but when you're drawing, it's just easy to draw them there. So the point here is to not draw a solid Oxy pinpoint pupil, okay? You want to draw only part of the pupil. Now, I used to tell people to draw Pac-Man, and then I would end up with a lot of fortune cookie or Pac-Man pupils like this. And that is a really, really odd looking pupil. It really does look like A fortune cookie. So the deal is, a catchlight is probably never going to be a triangle point thing. So then I revised my teaching method, and I said that what I want you to do is draw the Death Star. If you remember the Death Star from Star Wars when it's under construction, it was most of the circle was there, and then some of the construction was not there at the top. Okay? So that's another way to think about it. But the bottom line is, if you're drawing, you want to draw that pupil, and you want to leave some of the circle undrawn. Okay? Just be careful. And if you do it too literally, like if you make it into Pac-Man, or if you make it into, something like a square, something that's so literal, looks like a chunk, looks like the top part of the state of Utah there, it's going to be really obvious, when really you kind of want it to just be a little reflection and a little bit missing, but not like huge weird quantities. The nice thing is, when you're painting, you can always come back and do a little bit of white paint in the pupil, and that can be your catchlight. Here's another pet peeve of mine. Your catchlights are never giant white circles in the middle of the black pupil. So I'll see this a lot in class, where people will take their white paint and they'll add a catchlight, and it'll just be this giant white circle in the middle of the pupil. And that's not what a catchlight is either, okay? It's usually gonna overlap the pupil and the iris a little bit, and it's the same shape as whatever lights are nearby. And very rarely is it going to be a perfect round dot in the middle of the black pupil. Okay, so when I paint them in, if I'm painting a pupil in, or drawing it in, painting it in, I usually just do let's say I've done a solid one, which I never would do, but you get the idea. If I'm going to add a catchlight there, I usually just do a dot and then a little bit longer of a line, but you don't want it to be a perfect line, right? You want it to be just the idea of a reflection in there. Does that help? Does that help not have Pac-Man pupils? Yeah, you can dab a catchlight on with a paint pen. Just don't do it as a round dot, if that makes sense. I mean, even if you're painting a portrait of your goldfish, you guys, you need to put a catchlight in. That's how living creatures look alive, is that catchlight. So it's super important in photography. If you're taking a photo of someone, you want your subject to have a catchlight reflecting in their eyes. One of my favorite pictures of one of my boys is I took a picture of him outside. He was all sweaty and red, and just it was a good close-up shot where he filled the whole frame. And he's got great catchlights, and if you look closely in his catchlight, you can actually see a reflection of me. So you can see in his catchlight me holding the camera up, taking this photo, and that's all reflected in his eye, which is really, really cool. I mean, I didn't do that on purpose, just total and complete accident. But I love it when a little bit of magic happens like that. Yeah, a catchlight makes you look alive. Right? The eyes are where it's at. I always say you can get away with all kinds of nonsense on portraits and stuff like that, as long as your eyes don't look like Children of the Corn horror movie. So beware of Children of the Corn horror movie stuff. I need to open a bunch of new sprays because I have used so many in this little quarantine dealio we've got going on. I am running low on a lot of my desktop. New online classes, yep. Trying to work on it. I'll be honest, lately, after I finish my live demo, I'm pooped. And so I've been slacking in the afternoons. I mean, I've been making art and playing around and goofing off, but I haven't really been filming my new classes the way that I thought that I would when this whole thing started. So, yeah, that's just Me feeling pooped. I don't know if this is still available, the stencil. I don't think so. Any store owners out there have the stencil in stock? If you do, pipe on. I did several of these 3-1 type stencils back in the day. Just didn't really. Fortunately, like I say all the time, remember stencils, once Ranger sells through their initial order, they don't reorder them. That makes sense? So when you see a stencil you like, try to get it. They eventually get discontinued. Yeah, I do think it's still around. It might still be around. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. What's nice about the 3-1 is they, because hardly ever you use a stencil as a whole, right? So it's nice to have more than one pattern on the deal. Yeah, check Scrapbook. You can order pencils on Dick Blick. Scrappy Chic has pencils. I think Runaway Art and Craft has pencils. Busy Scrappin' might have pencils. I did pin that post in my Art of Dina Wakely Facebook page. So I did pin the post with all the stores that are willing to ship. So I would love it if you would just pop them an email or get on their Facebook pages, follow them. Church Window Stencil, I have not reissued that one. I could in the future. I could put that on a wish list. I appreciate all of your kind words. That's really nice of you. Really, really nice of you. One of the ways that I'll work is I'll come back to a table, especially after like yesterday where I just made, you guys, the pile of stuff I have over here on my right side is colossal. I'll move some of it over. So I'll make stuff. Look at this pile. Look at this. So this is pieces parts. So Kathy, when I staple something into my journal, I don't worry about the staple coming through on the other side. I don't worry about it one bit. I don't notice it. I pretend like it's not there, and I just do what I want to do, if that makes sense. All right, so this is a big pile of experiments. Oh, there's a stamp. I wondered where that was. Half done stuff, in process things, stuff that I have demoed all week, all that good stuff. Okay, so that stays on my right. On my desk, and if you've seen my desk, it is not big. And then I I have all that. I call it creative mise en place. So remember, if you actually speak French, I know I just butchered that, but in cooking, mise en place is when you pre-chop all of your vegetables and you do all of that prep so that when you actually go to cook the recipe, you don't have to stop and cook and chop something, right? So all of this is what I consider my creative mise en place. So I'll come around and I'll turn to a page that I may have sprayed on or started something, or maybe I've already gessoed there, and then I start building with what is in the pile. Also, there was a question that I was going to answer. I did say that I would self-filled journals. It's just that, again, that's on my list. It's a matter of photographing, listing, and then monitoring it, and then figuring out who gets it and all that stuff. Yeah, a regular sewing machine will sew through chipboard. It sure will. And I just use a regular needle. I don't use a heavy duty needle or anything like that. I just use my usual stuff. So Heather asks, I just started with you, and a couple of my first purchases were your vintage scribbled Christmas and trick-or-treat stamps. Oh, so we all did those as a special release. I'm sure that if I wanted to do something holiday, I could. Ranger would be open to that. It's just I don't really stamp for holidays much anymore. But I can certainly add that to the wish list for sure. It's a good idea. And I do gesso my watercolor pages because I'm not watercoloring. I'm adding acrylic to the pages. So acrylic acts different than watercolor. So the reason I use watercolor paper is because it stands up to all the wet media that I throw at it, and not because I'm actually watercoloring. Gesso is my friend. Gesso is one of those things. You either use it, like it, and use it a lot, or you don't give a rip about it. And that's fine. It's totally up to you. I've just learned I like my art better when I gesso. I like the way paint moves. Gesso is insurance. Remember the other day when I was drawing something and I wanted to wipe something off and I couldn't because I hadn't gessoed? If I would have gessoed, I would have totally been able to wipe off. Did I do a chipboard shape video? I think I did, Veronica. I did a chipboard shape video. Victoria, yes, I did go to Jellyfish Lake. So it was closed for a number of years. Gesso does not work for alcohol ink, so do not use it for alcohol ink. Nope, 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 nope. Sometimes I apply gesso to tags if I would say 50% of the time, just a swipe, just to get different looks of the paint soaking into the tag versus soaking onto the gesso. So Jellyfish Lake was really cool. It was closed for a number of years because the jellyfish population had gone down significantly. And then they didn't let people go for a couple of years to Jellyfish Lake. And then they recently reopened it. So when we went to Palau, we did get to go. And what is hilarious is that your boat lands at the island where Jellyfish Lake is. And then you have to walk up a mountain and down a mountain. No, it's not a terrible walk. And because they don't let you scuba in Jellyfish Lake, you can only snorkel. It's not like you are hauling your gear up and down the mountain. But a couple of us looked at it and was like, oh my gosh. This is, yeah, we now got to climb. So anyway, if you go slow and steady wins the race for things like that. So went slow. There were a lot of other tourists there. And our dive master, we did Sam's tours, who were phenomenal. Our dive master says, okay, that's sweet that all these tourists are jumping in right here and swimming around. He goes, but this is not where the pod is. He goes, we want to kick out to where the high concentration of the jellyfish are. And so we followed him, and the lake, it's not huge, but it's, not like Lake Tahoe or something like that, but we kicked. Some of us were like, okay, we just climbed a mountain and we need to kick across a freaking lake. But it was so worth it because we kicked across, and then as we're kicking closer and closer to where the big swarm of jellyfish were, we started to see a few more, and then pretty soon, they were literally everywhere. It was so amazing. I took some great video of it and some great pictures of friends. And so Jellyfish Lake, if you don't know what Jellyfish Lake is, my friends, it's a marine lake. So it's a saltwater lake that they're not sure why or how, but many moons ago, jellyfish showed up in this lake. No, there's no stingers on these jellyfish. So over 10,000 years or however long they were in this lake, they lost their ability to sting because they don't have any natural predators in the lake. And so you can swim with these jellyfish and they went there on Survivor. Yeah. They don't sting you. They're all over and you can't help but touching them. They touch you. You can touch them. They kind of feel like a silicone. It was really amazing. I mean, it's just basically like swimming in, it was really, really cool. And it's definitely worth doing. So, question. So if I just ordered a blue journal and small white, should I gesso the paper pages one day? Yeah, I mean, if you like gesso, then yes, I would gesso the pages. I like to pre-gesso, so that's what I do. That's what I do. Who are the mixed media artists who have most influenced you? Lynn Perella, for sure. Michelle Ward. A lot of the early gals. Katie Kendrick, best class I ever took was with Stephanie Lee and Judy Wise. Just, they were so generous with their knowledge and information. It was so, so good. Trying to think. I mean, I'm influenced by everybody. I mean, Tisha Moore's Diane's idol because of the lettering and the collage style. I mean, I love Tisha, but I wouldn't say she's one of my major influences, but she's definitely a pioneer, and I do love her art a lot. I don't use a heat gun because first of all, it's a waste of time. The amount of time that it takes you to heat something, you could make something else, number one. Number two, why on earth are you heating plastic? So plastic I don't want to put a heat tool on plastic, and that's what acrylic is. So I just think it's better. It looks better if it air dries. I don't use dyes at all in my work. Not a die cut person. I just don't know how to use them. I need to watch Tim because he's so good with dyes and stuff like that. I'm not really a dye person. Anne Bagby, that's right. She's one of the original ones. Lots of really cool artists out there. Lynn is still, I think she does still teach occasionally. Does she still have her column in Somerset? I don't subscribe to that anymore, so I don't know if she does have a column. I do buy an issue occasionally from the bookstore. But I love lots of artists. I mean, I have lots of friends who make. Somebody mentioned Julie Faye Van Balzer. She's awesome, a good friend of mine. Nat Kalbach is sweet. She's a sweetheart and is great. Of course, my love Diane Reevely, Tim. Tim his style's so different than mine, but I learned so much when I watch what he does. I get tons of ideas. He sent me down a wormhole recently with his hardcore art panels with gesso and acrylic spray, my gloss sprays. Oh my gosh, I gotta show you what I did. So these were some of the pieces that I did on his hardcore art panels. These have not been gessoed. Well, actually, that's not true. I played with gesso and spray, and these were some of the results. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet, but I really loved what happened. Came up with a few ideas for classes as well. Isn't that cool? Look at this one. Look at this one. Is that not totally delicious? So these were made for alcohol ink. And I had never opened them, but when I watched his demo the other day, he says they have this vinyl coating. So they do have a vinyl coating. So I wasn't sure. My thick paint, of course, sticks fine to it. Anything fluid kind of beads up, but it does dry and it's on there. But anyway, oh my gosh, I ripped open, there's a few more floating around here too. I ripped open all but one of the packages of these that I had, and just had an absolute blast. So it's fun how somebody that you admire can send you down a wormhole, even when they're not your style of artist, right? I'm not an assemblage artist. You get me something with 3D, and I have no idea what to do with it. And yet that is, Tim's forte. Diane loves collage and her hand lettering. And I mean, I'm terrible at that hand lettering stuff. Diane's amazing at it. So like I've mentioned in the past, I'm not competitive. I think a rising tide raises all ships, and there's room for all of us. And that's a good thing. The more hands that do this, it's better for our industry. It's better for all of us. So be out and proud about being an artist. Go ahead and post your work, share it, and that's good. That's good for all of us. We're all influencing each other in the best ways. There are certain artists, abstract artists that I follow on Instagram that I just absolutely love. R. Stein Fine Art is amazing. I love Heather Day. Her work is deceptively simple, and I just love it. I love watching Tim too. It's fun to watch him. I love watching Di. It's fun when Diane teaches, because I'll be like, oh, that's how you get it to look that way. Oh, that's what you do. Oh, that's so cool. It's really fun. Really fun. There's room for all of us. Yeah, you can definitely pour. I thought about doing a pour demo. We could do pouring again. That would be fun. I hope I'm not wasting your time. You know me, that I have a big little, not pet peeve, it's not a pet peeve, it's a phobia about, I really don't want to overstay a welcome, you know. I don't want to waste your time. I figure you'll leave if you're done though, right? Caroline asks, is the paper in the small journal the same as the white pages in the large black? It is not. So the paper in the small white journal is 300-pound watercolor. I would say the stuff in the black journal is more like 120-pound watercolor. But the blue journal and the white journal have the same white paper, okay? If that makes sense. Journal covers we could do. You guys do know that I'm not one that usually decorates covers, though. Though, I mean, I did it for this last show. Oop, that's the second pencil down, if you're keeping track. All right, I've got accordion, cat mask, maybe a journal cover. I don't know. We'll see. It's just, I got to teach you with what I do, and I don't usually do them a ton. How many color paints, Belinda? This is an embarrassing admission, but I actually don't have any idea. Because some of them were released 4 at a time, sixes at a time. Store owners, like I'll be at a store and somebody will ask me that, and the store owner can usually pop in and tell me how many that I have. But I don't know. I don't know. Butterfly masks. We can do that the same day as the cat mask. Uses for sticky back. It's a good idea. The white is gone. Did you guys know that? It's a bummer. Do you have a new journal coming? I don't at this time. White, black, blue, hot pink. Ooh, hot pink would be fun. Pink. Yeah. Oh yeah, craft. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. I had that in my brain. Fiber paste. I don't use fiber paste much. You need to watch like Tim and Paula. Paula Cheney's amazing. Oh my gosh, Paula. So Marilyn, I did transfers early on. I don't really use gel transfers anymore. I only use acrylic paint transfers, and I did that early on. It's in one of the like acrylic technique videos. Beeswax. The only problem with demoing beeswax is that you gotta have the iron. Media board. Yeah, we could talk about media board. Media board is another one of those products that doesn't look like much on the surface, but I use it a ton. White paint is gone. What do you mean, Pam? I've done all the acrylic techniques that I've taught you guys. I did glazing medium. I did glazing in the acrylic technique. More of how you complete the pile. Okay, yeah, we can just use the pile. But you know, I just do attention deficit, oh squirrel. The white, oh yeah, the white sticky back is gone. Yeah, because I've tried to order it. The white sticky back is gone, but they have the natural. I think Diane has, does she have smaller sheets of sticky back? I can't remember. Yeah, the white is gone. Yeah, Pam, you're right. The white sticky back is gone. But you can get the natural. Order it. Order it, my friends. Order it for sure. No, white journal's not gone. No. White journal's not gone. Love me the white journal. Yeah, she has strips of sticky, doesn't she? They're kind of cool. Working in proportion. What do you mean, Raina? Because I don't know if I even think about proportion much, but that's a good question. So let me chew that. Let me chew on that. What about that pot for beeswax? So Suze Weinberg, the amazing Suze, she had the melting pot, right? Yeah, this is how rumors get started. Suze had the melting pot, and then when she retired, the melting pot also retired because she taught it and did all of her UT stuff, and she was just the master at that melting pot. And the rest of us didn't really use it a ton. So if you still have a melting pot, you certainly can use it to melt beeswax. Absolutely. Using between small and large journal, struggling with large and then flipping to small. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know if I even have a conscious thought about that, but that is, I'll try to come up with a conscious thought. So maybe what you're really asking is working in multiple journals at a time. Make it a little broader, if that makes sense. Uses for bold stamps, abstract shapes, and scribbles. I think those are retired. Yes, I do gallon, quart, pint rule. We talked about that with color, didn't we? 8x8 journal would be fun. Animal faces. So Angela, I'm not good at drawing animals. I mean, I will do what I think I can confidently teach you, and I wish I was the teacher for that. Do I know the status of Claudine? Yeah, I'm still friends with her on Facebook. I don't know what art she's doing. I know she's working and still kicking. Claudine, both Diane Reevely and I credit Claudine for being one of our original mixed media influences, because Claudine's first book, Collage Discovery Workshop? It was the first book out there that really taught you how she did those techniques. Like, it was so cool. So anyway, yeah, I can do birds. Sandra, carving your own stamps, you need to go to Julie Balzer for that. Julie Faye Found Balzer is an amazing stamp carver. I suck at it so bad because I don't have a steady hand. So I am not good at doing that. I mean, I've done it in the past, but man, they're not great. They're not great. I was on a bird kick for a long time. Yeah, Claudine, she's still kicking. Claudine's talented, such a talented gal. Her first book changed my life, and Diane will say the same thing. Her first book, Claudine's first book changed both of our lives. I'll never forget when she taught she was gluing like dictionary paper or phone book paper down, and then she was taking masking tape and then sticking it on top of it and pulling it off. So it was like a peeled paper technique. And I remember thinking, that's how you get it to look that way. Because, up until then, a lot of us didn't know how to keep pages from sticking together. You just got to gesso a couple. Have a bunch of journals you're gessoing at once. So gesso them, set them out to dry, watch Netflix for 10 minutes, and then turn the page. So I don't put wax paper in them or anything like that. I let them air dry. And put your gesso on thin. You really don't want to put it on thick, because then it will just take forever to dry. My gesso goes on thin like Kate Moss. Okay, thin like a supermodel. Julie is amazing. I need her to teach me how to carve those stamps, though I know I can't really learn, so I'll just buy hers. Be free with brush strokes. So much of that is in your own head, my friends. But yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, Claudine back in the day. Foam stamps. I love Tim's. I would love to have some. I really don't want to copy him though. And frankly, his alphabets are pretty perfect, so I don't need to reinvent those alphabets. And I probably would only use alphabets. So let's just use Tim's. They're great. I don't need to reinvent something that's already great. Is it still sticky, Yvonne? That's cool. Do I mix my paints? Not really. Will I ever consider a teaching cruise again? No, with a capital N. I still have PTSD from that teaching cruise. I loved my class, Andy. I loved that you were there. We had 48 students. I loved the experience of being with 48 artists. Class was a delight. Class was a privilege. The cruise itself is not my way to vacation. So yeah, that's not something that I will ever do again. There was another question. Back to mixing. So paint mixing is really complicated because you have to keep all the undertones that are in your paints in mind, and you might not be aware of what the undertones are until you start mixing. So I find that I'm a lazy artist and I don't really want to mix a ton of paint. I just don't want to do it. So yeah, I mix a little bit, but I don't do it on, like thinking self, mix a new color to you. I just don't, I mean, yeah, it's not, I mean, we can talk about it, but. Yeah, the cruise, we had a great time on the cruise as far as the art class went. I would have jumped off though, if I could have. And I also, another thing you have to remember about the cruise and me is that I was absolutely burned out. Hopefully that didn't show. Hopefully because class was energizing and fun. Again, like I said, class was, man, I could do that all day, every day. But I came right to the cruise from teaching in Australia. I'm not good at the logistics of things, and handling the logistics of Australia was really stressful, and then handling the logistics of the cruise about killed me off. So, create more alphabets. Adore your Scribble Alpha. Scribble Alpha. Alphabets would be good. Stitching. I do love to stitch. Will you be anywhere near the Northeast? Usually every year I teach at Paper Craft Clubhouse in Connecticut. Supposed to go there the end of May. Not sure if that's going to happen. We may have to reschedule. Are all my guy stamps inspired from my guys? Yeah, I mean, in a way. They are, I call them my fellas, the fellas. Information on brushes. I use anything, Janice. So, and I like a brush with a stiff bristle. So, yeah, I'm not going to be great at educating you guys about brushes, unfortunately. I do love my scribble sticks. Susan, maybe you should go, so there's a company called Cruise and Crop, Susan. So since you love cruising, that does lots of themed cruises with scrapbook companies and artists and teachers, and I think you would have a blast getting back into it, because you get to go do something fun on the ship as well as on a cruise, and then you get to meet your people. So I'm sorry about your husband. That would be really hard to get back to cruising. Yep, been to Scrapbook Central 3 or 4 times. She's on my list to get back to. Canada's hard for me because of the rules at the border. So it's not, teaching overseas is not just as simple as showing up, if that makes sense. Yep, I've taught in the Netherlands many times. I just was there at, what is it called? Carla's shop. The Scrap Heap. And then I'll probably go back there late next year. Yep, Edmund is still on the schedule for this year. Canada, I don't have any Canadian dates. Again, with the issues with the border, I have not done any. And also my friend Michelle McCosh from Everything Scrapbook and Stamps, she often does cruises, and she is a great teacher. And she, once or twice a year, she does a cruise. So definitely figure out, look her up as well. Go on her cruises. She's a very good mixed media teacher. Great store owner. Yep, Wisconsin's on the schedule again. My schedule for the year is up, but keep in mind that so much of it is going to change. I don't work on paper that I've made myself. I do not do that. That's just, I think handmade paper is cool. I'll buy it, but I mean, and all the paper in my journals is handmade, actually. It's handmade in India, but I don't make paper. It's funny how the older, and Barb, by the way, my knitting's coming good. Now the rows are so long that it's taking forever to do a row. But yeah, it's going well. Okay, I'm going to draw one more face, and then I'm going to let you guys go. So thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. I don't really use rice paper. No, I'm pretty simple. I don't use a lot of specialty things, really. I let my paints and my focal points be the main accent. It's just what I like, so. You can get overwhelmed with like using too much, I think. So I tend to be somebody who wants to keep it simpler than that. I always say I'm complicated simple. It's being the Gemini, right? Guys, make art this weekend, today, if you can, fit it in. Go easy on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, please. And extend yourself a little bit of grace. I always laugh when I'm teaching and I'll be demoing and I make something and everybody goes, ooh. And it just makes me giggle because I know that if you guys made that same thing, you'd be like, oh, it sucks. Because you're so hard on yourselves. Knock that nonsense off. Be good to you. Because if you don't, who will? Okay, last cookie face over a crazy background, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.